All right, shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to all you sincere Akim. So this is going to be a breakdown, a full, Lord willing, is going to be a full breakdown of Genesis, the first chapter. All right, now I've been looking to do a breakdown video for a while now because, we are here, we go through everything, having 100% truth. We go through everything, the history, the prophecies, even the breakdowns concerning some certain scriptures. And the Akim that already know the breakdown for this Genesis, the first chapter, I already know that the book of Genesis is a very deep book. Okay, that reading it at face value is not going to be enough for you to get the full breakdown of what is going on, because you have because you have different words being used, and being changed and things like that. Okay, I don't really know how to explain it properly, but you have deep dark sayings and parables in this book of Genesis, and because of that, that's caused a stumbling block for so many people because they don't even understand the majority of the things that are written up in just in Genesis, the first few chapters. All right, and this precept right here in the book of and understanding the book of Genesis, understanding the creation, understanding the story of Adam and Eve, and up to the point of Noah and the ark, is a huge part of understanding the scriptures and understanding the precepts, because a lot of things are in a lot of things, a lot of basic building blocks for understanding the scriptures are in these chapters. All right, so I think I was going to go right into it. Not willing, I'm able to do it in one video. If not, it will be a part one and a part two. So we start off with Genesis 1 verse 1, and it reads, "In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and the and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the waters." And right there is the first stumbling that people get on, because if you go into the root word or the Hebrew word for this for God right here in the scriptures, because read the book of Genesis, the first chapter, the word that is used here is God. But if you go into the other precepts, they use a different term. That's when they start using, go into the book of Genesis, the second chapter, that's when they start using the Lord God. In other words, Yahweh, Yahweh, in other words, Yahweh. That's when they start using Yahweh of power, or Yahweh. Let me just get it. The book of Genesis 2 verse 4. All right, let me just bring it out. Here it is. Yahweh Alahai, Yahweh Alahayam, Yahweh of power. So this is right here, Yehovah, which of course you already understand that there is no O or V in the Hebrew. All right, and there's no E as well. Like the word here is actually Yahweh, okay? Yahweh. And you see in the Assyrian script, the Ya, the Ha, the Wa, and the Ha again. All right. And the word is basically going into the existing one. That was He is, because that's basically what the word means. Right, but in Genesis, the first chapter, the word used to represent the Most High is not Yahweh, but it is Alahayam. All right, Alahayam. And if you go into the Hebrew, you know that the word for God in Hebrew is Allah. Okay, and and the suffix word, yam is a word that makes proper nouns. It's a word that is used for proper nouns to make them plural. So when you say Alahayam, it means the powers, the gods. Okay, so that means more than one, and that is a pivotal or a huge part of the breakdown of Genesis, the first chapter. In that, in the creation story, all right, in the beginning of the world, in the creation of the earth and the universe, there was more than one person. Okay, it wasn't just the Most High out there creating the whole world. Okay, there was more. You had Yahweh Shai, you had the elect and the angels creating everything right along with him. Because you go deeper into the scriptures, it tells you that the Most High used His word. Okay, the Most High created the world through His sons, and of course we'll get those precepts as well. But this is the words Alahayam in the Hebrew, and here you see them. They'll say Elohim, Elohim, which is how they say it in the Yiddish, but in the Paleo Hebrew the word is Alahayam, because you see all the letters there. Okay, the A, the La, the Ha, the Ya, and the Ma. All right. So now Now let me just get this one first. The root word. And that root word is ala alaya. And that root word is alaya. All right. So I cannot. So I cannot. So I can, this is what I was looking for. H410, and that is Allah. All right, Allah. So now let's just go back to the biblical usage, and it reads, of course, you see the first thing that it shows is plural, and it's a plural for rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods. Okay, because the word Elohim or Alahayan, it can be used to represent the Most High. It can be used to represent the angels. All right, it can be used to represent the judges, and even we ourselves. It's not written in the book of Psalms 82 verse 6 that we are all gods as well. And that word, if you go into that word, the word that will be there is Alahayam as well, all right? Because we as Hebrew Israelites, we are actually gods, okay? Because we are the same as angels. After all, it's written in the scriptures that the Most High made men, right? And he made them little, with little difference from angels, little different than the angels, which of course that was speaking of the Hebrew Israelites, because we understand that in the coming of our Lord Yahushua, once he comes back, okay, in judgment, that he will deliver our people and he will give us those spiritual angelic bodies, and we will be Alahayam, just like he is. All right, so going back to the precept, now you understand this beginning chapter, the beginning verse. So Genesis, the first chapter, in the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth. In other words, the powers, okay, the gods at that time, the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, with the elect. And I'm going to get a precept that can prove that, okay, in the book of Hebrews, the first chapter. There are multiple precepts that I can use for that, but this is the first one I'll use. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1, and it reads, "The Most High, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoke unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds." All right. And that tells you right there that it was Yahweh Shai that created everything, with the authority and with the power given unto him by the Most High. So, and this is probably what I should have gotten first. In the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1, and it reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the Most High, and the Word was the Most High." All right, so we understand that if you keep on reading on down, you understand that this word that is speaking about is actually an individual, and that is our Lord Yahweh Shai, because when you are in the Christian church, back in Waki Taki Christianity. I don't know if you brothers or any of you people that you viewers that are listening to this video right now, if you ever had one of your Sunday school teachers tell you that the Most High created everything, created the universe, with His word through His, through speech alone, just like in the beginning when He said, "What, let there be lights," and there was light. Okay. But that word that he's speaking of is our Lord Yahushua, because through our Lord Yahushua, he made everything, the elect, all right, the universe, the earth, the stars, the moon, and all that. And that's why the scriptures say that, Yahushua is the only begotten Son of the Most High, because he is the only creature in the whole universe that was made directly by the Most High, while everything else and everybody else was made by Yahushua through the power of the Most High. Now, this is not taking away anything from the power of Yahweh, all right? But it's just telling you straight up how it was done. And the Most High gave all the power and all the authority to His Son in order to do all these things, which is the exact same thing that He's going to do, in the coming of our Lord Yahushua, which is why, it is Yahushua that is coming to judge the world, in righteousness, and as the scripture says that in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And that's the reason why it is Yahushua that is going back, and not the Most High himself. All right, so going back to that book of Genesis, I hope that that was that explained the first, the beginning chapters. So continuing, Genesis 1 verse 2, and it reads, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the waters." And what he's going into is what, when the it's pretty self-explanatory, this part, when the world was created, when the earth was created, it was without form. In other words, It had no, it had nothing in it. Okay, and it was void. No, basically darkness. All right, no lights, no day, no night, no separation of anything. It was just what I'm looking for. Just empty space. Let's put it like that, because these waters that is speaking of right here, it's not the waters that are in the sea, but rather the waters that are above the Earth's atmosphere. In other words, outer space. What you had was just because you watch all of Esau's space movies. Okay, you see Saka. You watch Esau's space movies, all right, and you see how the star space is actually very dark, and the few lights that you see are the lights of the stars, that the Most High put up there just to give a little bit of illumination. But that is basically how the universe is. You take out all these stars and all these planets and everything that is lighting up the sky, that is making that those little dots in the sky, and it's basically just darkness. So that was how the universe was before the Most High gave decided to bring in light, decided to bring in the moon, the stars, the heavenly bodies, and all that. In order to populate the sky and make it look the way that it does. And those creations, were beautiful, man, because you see the way people are always infatuated with the night sky, staring up into the sky, head in the clouds and all that, because everything that the Most High creates, everything that the Most High had put on the earth in that time was good and it was beautiful. So that is why the world was called Eden during that time. Because what that word Eden means, it goes back to the Hebrew word Aidan, which means paradise. All right. So during that time, everything was basically a paradise, man. The beauty of the earth, the beauty of the sky, the sea, and everything was incomparable to what you see on the earth right now. Because even with the way that Esau has messed up and fucked up the whole world, even with the way that this world has gone past the age of its youth and is basically in its old age and is decrepit right now and is moaning and groaning because it is slowly being destroyed by Esau Edom, it is still it is still very beautiful, breathtaking, even in some some you know, you know, when you look at it, and when you look at some of the things that the Most High has created, and you are humbled by its beauty. Now imagine how much more beautiful it would have been at the beginning when it was just freshly off the presses. When the Most High just created this newly. So that's basically what this is going into, man. For anything that being created, when the world was in darkness, when it was just space. So from verse 3 now, and the Most High said, "Let there be lights," and there was light. And the Most High saw, or I should rather say, not the Most High, the powers saw the light, that it was good. And the powers divided the light from the darkness. So that was the first separation, the first distinction, okay? Light separated from darkness, so that he would call the lightness from verse 5 now. And the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And that's another thing right there. Now you understand how the days, okay, how time is separated, because first the Most High created space and now he has created time, right? And he has now shown how time is distinguished, because Esau Edom will tell you that, oh, once midnight hits, that's a new day. But the scriptures is telling you this something different. What did it say? The evening and the morning were the first day. In other words, once the sundown is actually the marker that it's actually the marker that the day that one day has ended and a new day has begun, because the day goes from darkness into light. Okay, no, not the other way around, because the day starts in the evening once the sun has gone down it's descending into darkness. That is a new day, which is why we always celebrate the Sabbath sundown to sundown, the new moon sundown to sundown, whatever the high holy day we celebrate it sundown to sundown, because that's how the Most High hath ordained it. Okay, and it continues on like that, all throughout the scriptures, even till this day. So continue from verse 6, and it reads, "And the Most High said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let's divide the waters from the waters." And that word firmament, I believe the word is Bashamayam. Bashamayam. Yeah, something like Bashamayam, because the word Shamayam actually means of the waters. And that word Shamayam means sky, okay? But if you go into the root word, it's actually a compound word meaning of the waters, Sha Mayam, because the word in the Hebrew for water is Mayam. So that word Sha means of or pertains to. In other words, we know that the firmament speaking about is the firmament of the waters that are in the sea and the rivers, the sea level, and the firmament above, which is basically outer space, all right? So that firmament is the most like creating a separation between the waters in the sky, okay, the waters of outer space and the waters on the earth, the sea and the rivers and the lake and the like. Okay, so now that basically is going into gravity, all right. So you're creating gravity, creating different forces that are holding the earth together, gravitational forces, magnetic forces, whatever term you want to use for it. But this is basically what it is, and it's funny because people will talk about how there's no science in the scriptures. But here you see the most high, creating all the different forces that are holding the universe together, creating all the different you know creating all the different forces that hold the universe together using the laws of physics, creating the laws of physics and chemistry and the like that these quote unquote scientists and physicists like to speak about. But yet they will say that there's no science in the scriptures. But anyway, and if you go into this, you research it in secular, using the secular science, all this is confirmed, okay? It's confirmed that what you don't even need to go into science. You can just confirm by yourself that there is a separation between day and night. All right, it's confirmed that the space is basically what space is basically just waters up in. There's basically just waters up in space because the same what's what I'm looking for now. The same I don't really know how to explain it, but the same way the waters are on the earth is the same way it is in space. All right, because I'm not sure whether you can ever seen any of these movies like that you see, fish and fish made of constellations that are basically flying around in space. There are different movies that actually shown this because even Esau knows that what space is. It's just basically the firmament that is above. The waters that are above. All right. And that's what I was saying. Let me just get this word firmament because I actually want to get it, and I was looking for my book of Hebrew just now. Try to find no, that word because I have Genesis the first chapter written there, but I couldn't find it. I'm just going to leave it like that. And the word here is raka, rakwaya, rakwai, rakwaya, rakwaya rakwaya. So okay, rakwaya. Yes. 49. Rakia. It is Rakwaya. Rakwaya. I don't know how to say it like that, but the last word that you see here, there's the Ra, the Kwa, the Ya, and that is the I. The I, like Yahawashai. But I'm trying to figure out Rakwaya. That is basically what I use for the firmament here. And the word is extended surface, solid, expanse, firmament, expanse, flat as base support, firmament of vault of heaven supporting waters above, considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. All right, so that's the word for firmament. Rakwayai. All right, so continuing on. So this is now Genesis 1 verse 8, and it reads, and the powers called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. All right, so on the first day, it created light. It created light. It created gravity. The forces. It created light, which is basically time and day. Day and night and time. Created the forces that separated the heavens from the earth. Gravity and the like. And then that's on the second day that he created the forces that separate the heavens and the earth. In other words, gravity. All right, and this word heaven, like I said, Bashamayam, and this is it right here. This is right here. Shamayam. So I meant to say Shamayam, not Bashamayam. Shamayam. All right, and that is heavens, sky. Visible heavens, sky as abode of the stars, as visible universe, the sky, atmosphere, etc. And that's basically what it is. Heaven is going into, it can mean multiple things. It can just mean the sky. It can mean the actual heavens, the throne of the Most High. It can mean outer space, all right? Because that word is it has multiple meanings. And basically, what that word Shamayam, which is heaven, means is, like I said, of pertaining to or of, because that word sha means of, so of the of the waters, and those waters are the waters that are above. All right, so now from That's not from verse 9 and from verse 9. All right. And the power said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And the Most High called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called sea. And the Most High saw that it was good. All right, so now you have the sea and the earth, the land and the sea separated as well. I mean, you see the exact reference here when the Most actually did it, because you go into different precepts like the book of Job. It always speaks about this, how the Most High created the sea and the waters in their own bounds, and they do not overpass each other. All right, that is it's also in the book of Esdras. I forget the exact precept, but I believe in the book of Job, the 37 or 38 chapter, it speaks about this. And right here, the Most High created the separation between the waters and the dry land. So now continue from verse 11, and it reads, and the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. All right. And in the third day, the Most High created the plants on the dry land. All right. So that and that's basically that. And I don't really have anything deeper to say concerning that. So the next preset, from verse 13 now. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And now you see, the first day, the second day, the third day, it always starts in the evening, and goes on to the morning, okay? Because from the evening, from evening to evening, sundown to sundown, that is the whole day. It's still the same 24 hours, just that it's not doesn't start at midnight, but rather starts at sundown, okay? So continuing from verse 14 now. And the Most High said, and the powers said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the Most High and the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And that's right, because in the past, in the ancient world, in the ancient world, they used the stars, they used the moon, and even to this day, they still use all those things, the stars, the moons, and the sun, in order to measure time and day. Right, in order to measure the time and day and the seasons and the like. You have different for example, the solstices, your solstices, your equinoxes, your and various other things. But us, as Hebrews, okay, we use the lunar calendar. In other words, we use the moon in order to determine the day and the time, the months of the months, the beginning of months and the beginning of the year. But in this kingdom, okay, in Esau's kingdom, he uses the solar calendar. In other words, he uses the solar cycle. That's why Esau will tell you that 1 year is one revolution around the sun, which of course is an improper way to calculate the year, which is why they have leap year, which is why they have February having 28 days and 29 days on the leap year. But the correct way to calculate time, which of course we used in the ancient world, the Hebrew Israelites I'm speaking of right now, is through the moon. All right, because let me see, I can go to that precept. So let me bring it out. All right, because this just what I was speaking about. Because now you have different things coming out just from the book of Genesis, the first chapter. I believe that Wisdom of Solomon, the 11th chapter. Let me just type it in the search bar, so I'll not waste any time. I'll not waste any time. Okay, yeah, it is Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 1. All right, Ecclesiasticus 43 verse 1, and it reads. So okay, I'll start from verse Ecclesiasticus 43 verse 6, and it reads, he made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. And this is explaining, right, the lunar cycles, because the new moon is the beginning of the month, going up all the way to the full moon and then back to a new moon again. All right, the full moon happening in the middle of the month. That's how the moon decreases in our perfection. You have the moon, being what I'm looking for, a no, let me just a declaration of the times and seasons. Okay, because the moon that determines the month. The month always the beginning of the month always falls on the new moon. So once you know the beginning of the month, once you know what month it is, the number of the month, you know what season it is as well. Because this is what the Most High put those heavenly bodies up in the sky for. And that's why astronomy is one of the most ancient forms of science, all right? Because this is how you set up, this is how you calculate time, this is how you calculate the seasons, even to this day, by watching the stars, by watching the skies. You can even and that's how you predict weather patterns. That's how you predict weather patterns and like by watching the sky. And the same way that even yeah, I was trying to make this comparison. The same way that you look up to the sky and know what time or what season it is, what hour it is, what day it is, what second it is, what month it is, what it is time to what celebration they are coming into or what season they are coming into. In the same way that we as prophets, we as the men of the Lord, have to be looking at the signs that are being shown in the world. Okay, in order to know what time or what season in prophecy that we are in as well. So now going back to Genesis, the first chapter. All right. So this is Genesis 1 verse 17 now. And the Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Now the firmament of the heaven, we already know what this is going into outer space, all right? Because you see the Most High has made that separation now. The firmament of the heaven and the firmament on the earth. And that's why the sky, whenever the sky is clear, it's always reflecting this, it's always reflecting the light of the waters, completely, clear blue, all right? And the waters do the exact same thing. It reflects the light of the sky. That's why you always see the sea having that bluish hue. They're having that bluish hue. You go into some parts of the world, where the water is more pure, and you see how clear, completely clear blue the water is. All right. So continue on from verse 18 now. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and the most high, and the powers, so that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So now you have the creation, the creation, the log of creation from the first 4 days. Right, the first day was the first day was creating light and darkness. The second day was creating the firmament above and the firmament below. Right, the third day was creating the plants. The fourth day now is creating the stars, the sun, the moon, the sky. Sorry, the stars, the sun, the moon, the other planets, to represent the days, the times, and the seasons. All right. And now we have the fifth day coming up. So this is verse 20 now. And the Most High said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And the powers created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the water brought forth abundantly after their kinds, and every winged fowl after his kind. And the powers saw that it was good. And the powers blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Now, that the fifth day is when all animals were created, including humans, all right? Because you have people out there that will say that, oh, humans were created on the sixth day, which is not actually true, all right? Because you go into the continue you're going to the real breakdown. All creatures, all living creatures, okay, were created on the fifth day. So now let me keep on reading on down before I actually get the precepts to prove that. So book of Genesis 1, and I'll start from verse 24. And the power said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was sown. And the power has made the beast of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the power saw that it was good. And the power said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the power has created man in his own image, in the image of in the image of the power has created he him, male and female he created he them. So there it tells you that men and women, all right, male and female were created at exactly the same time. Not that males were created first, then from the rib of the male, the female was created, because that word rib is actually going into a parable. It doesn't mean an actual physical rib, but it means from the family tree, okay, from the same family, because you had other people on the earth during the time of Adam, which of course, they don't speak about that in Wakitaki Christianity, because they did not know, all right. But you had other people on the earth during the time of Adam. Adam and Eve weren't the only people in the whole earth. Okay, there were more people on the. They were the most High created all the men on the earth. You had other men on the earth, and men and women, and even Adam even had a family, the family on the earth as well, and Eve was part of that family. So continuing on from verse 27 now. So the power has created man in his own image. In the image of the powers created he him, male and female created he them. And the powers blessed them, and the powers said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And the power said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And the power saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. All right. So what the sixth day was for the Most High to basically, it was basically for the Most High to look back at his work, okay, to basically the final check of all the work that he had done on the earth, and giving that ordinance, or giving that authority to men on the earth to be fruitful and to multiply, to eat and enjoy of the earth, of the fruit of the earth, the animals, the plants, and the like, which is showing you, all right, the Most High's plan for all of creation. Because yes, now we're speaking about every single human, all the earth, all the world, not just the Hebrew Israelites. Because even if the Most High focuses and loves only the Israelites, the rest of the heathen as well still have a right to enjoy the fruit of the fruit of the land, and the cattle, and the like. Which is why the Most High had given them their chance to rule on the earth, because they had their chance to to have the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven and the like. Even Esau, Edom, even the wicked. All right, but the point I want to get is that that men were created on the fifth day. Let me say that humans were created on the fifth day. Right. So let me get that. Yeah, I'm looking for it. So, okay. So yeah, it's in the book of Second Esdras. Yeah, Second Esdras. I completely forgot. I believe that is second. Let me just get it from. Let me just type it in the. I believe that is Second Esdras, the sixth chapter. But I'm not too sure. Okay, yeah, it is Second Esdras, the sixth chapter. Okay, so let me just look for it. Okay, it is Second Esdras 6, verse 47, and it reads, upon the fifth day thou saidst unto the seventh part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes, and so it came to pass. For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things, at the commandment of the Most High, that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Thou didst ordain two living creatures, the one thou callest Enoch, and the other Leviathan, and did separate the one from the other, for the seventh part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch thou givest one part, which was dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan thou givest the seventh part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured, of whom thou wilt and when. All right, now we know that the parts I'm speaking about is the waters, okay, the sea and the land. All right, and Enoch represents, Enoch represents men, all right, the humans and the beasts of the earth, the different animals that the terrestrial animals as a whole, including human beings. Okay, you already know that majority of the earth, 70% of the earth is made of water. So continuing, upon the sixth day, thou givest commandment unto the earth that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sakes. And so basically it's going into the Adamites and the Adamites, the sons of Adam, which you go into the like I said, that man was created on the fifth day, created at the same time as all the other beasts of the field, created at the same time as the fowls of the air and the fishes in the sea. And you see, in the recount of the creation story, okay, that's men, all right, both male and female, both man and woman, were created at exactly the same time, okay, the same way the animals and everything were created at the same time, all right, and men were made to be what lords over all these other animals. That's why you see, that's why you have people, us having having domesticated various animals on the earth, people, and even the scriptures goes into that, but that's a completely different topic, but you see us as humans having domesticated or even being able to domesticate majority of the animals on the planet, whether it's the wild beasts, because you have some wild animals, like for example, lions and snakes that have been domesticated. You have your snake charmers, you have your zoos with these domesticated lions. You have all these Arab billionaires running around with domesticated tigers, all right, because the Most High had made men to be, having that rule over the earth. And you go into the story of if from Noah after the flood, the Most High, what the scripture said, that the Most High had put the fear of of humans, of men, upon all the animals of the earth. And that still holds true till today, because they'll tell you in these nature documentaries, you watch these animal documentaries, they'll tell you about how animals are more scared of humans than we are scared of them, okay? And then, and you go into all this, do you know and even these animal attacks are still part of the scriptures, because the scriptures tell you that the Most High will require the life of men from beasts, all right? And also says that what there are spirits created for vengeance. The teeth of wild beasts is that's a spirit of vengeance. That's a form of judgment from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So it's all part of scripture. The Christian story is all part of scripture. Everything, it's all lined up, and it's all what I'm looking for. It's all ordered according to the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So you see the order in the creation, okay? It's not like the madness that Esau is pushing with his Big Bang theory, where the whole universe is just in a constant state of complete madness, and the word that these scientists like to use is entropy, which is basically chaos. But rather there was order in the creation. Everything was created orderly, and they were all created, and it was all created for a reason. And even the scriptures will tell you the exact reason why it was created. So if you're ever wondering why the sun, the moon, the stars were created, they were created in order for you to be able to measure accurately the days, the times, and the seasons. If you're wondering why the plants, the animals, and the beasts, everything was created. All right, here it is. Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 26, and it reads, The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. So basically, basically everything on the planet has its purpose for creation. It isn't just here just for the sake of being here, just for the sake of existence. It all has a purpose. It's all ordered according to the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So yeah, that's basically going into the Genesis, the first chapter breakdown. There's still a little bit more I forgot to go into, but just for now, they're just for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahwashai, Ba'asham Recha, Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal. And through the Spirit, I will be Akamel Akwat or edified. Shalom.